Hello and welcome back to Justice for Jean Alesi 2 in Formula 197, and round 3 brings us to the penultimate ever Argentine Grand Prix to date, and the 1997 running of this event was the 600th World Championship Grand Prix. Autódromo Juan y Oscar Gálvez in Buenos Aires was the only venue to have ever hosted an Argentine Grand Prix, hosting it 21 times, 20 of which were part of the World Championship. Fun fact about that one non-championship running of the Argentine Grand Prix: it was held in 1971 and won by Chris Amon. And that's notable because Chris Amon was basically famous for never having won a championship Grand Prix, despite being very talented, but also very unlucky. So of course, he won the only non-championship running of this event. Thanks to everyone who commented on round 1 of the championship. Round 2 is yet to be released as I film this, but thank you for everyone who commented in terms of how to handle the weather situation, with there being no kind of forecasting in this game, and what to do with tyres and stuff like that. I'm still not definitively sure if the tyres change for you depending on the weather or not, as I've had a mixture of responses on that. But I have had one useful tip from Racing di Milano, who said if you set your suspension to like 10 to 20%, it has a it doesn't really affect your dry setup, but it helps with the wet setup. So if I do get kind of, betrayed by the weather, that should help. We've yet to fall foul of the changeable weather conditions. This is another track where I feel like it's very more likely than others that it could, but we'll see. Could be today. So in real life, this was another Williams-dominated session, a third pole in a row for Jacques Villeneuve, and the second front-row lockout in the first 3 races for Williams. It was also the scene of a very famous third-place qualifying position for Panis in the Prost, ahead of Michael Schumacher, also a very respectable 5th place for Rubens Barrichello in the Stewart. McLaren and Benetton seemed to struggle here, McLaren complaining about the bumps of the circuit. Hakkinen was down in 17th, Alesi could only manage 11th, just ahead of teammate Berger. When we did our Panis playthrough last year, we could only manage 14th. It is another one of those tracks we struggled at, so I'm hoping that with the manual gears and Benetton we can improve. I got a bit of advice from a comment saying, you should make sure you calibrate the analog stick to make sure you get the full range of motion with steering. I'm hoping that will help. I don't think it will help with accidental lookbacks. We got loads of them in Brazil. I think we will get loads more again today. Target is going to be Alesi's real life 11th, because it was higher than our target from last year. I think that's a reasonable target to aim for, because I think that's the sort of gain, based on my performance so far, we can sort of expect. But before we get down to business, the return of our shouty engineer, as useless as always.
Fuel's getting low! Get ready to come in!
I mean, that's wrong on 2 levels. So first of all, fuel consumption's off. Second of all, I put 10 laps of fuel in anyway. Let's hope that the fuel doesn't run out, as I'm about to start my 10th lap on what is my fastest lap of the session. The real life pole time is 12 seconds down on the pole time we saw last year, so there's a hell of a gap. On we go. It's a long run down to turn 1, known aptly as curve number 1. Down to first gear very slowly and try and just carry the speed through. I always find these types of corners difficult. I bang on about it all the time. I do apologise, but this is just the sort of thing we're going to have to master if we want to be quicker this year. Through to the end of sector 1, we are already a second down. Ouch. And we head through to turn 6 now, which is known as curve number 8. I don't know why. Down the back straight and then into turn 7, which is completely flat. You just angle this perfectly and then head down to the Entrada a los Mixtos. Takes us into the infield again, slowly down to first gear. I've not got the entry particularly clean on here, and then I get a little bit distracted to see top corner. We've got the battery warning on my remote, and that kind of messes my entry through 11 and 12, so not as smooth. We head towards the Esticena, which is kind of like an Argentinian corkscrew. I think I called it last year. Absolutely mess up the entry for that. You want to try and get tight on the inside. You see how unhappy I am with that. It says a lot that this very messy lap was the quickest I managed. It's not good looking at it back, and at the time I didn't think I was doing too badly. Anyway, we head towards the start-finish straight now, and we get into the 1 minute 17.1s. It's 14th before the end of the session, which means I'm probably going to drop a little bit more. Not looking forward to this one. So on pole, what a surprise, Jacques Villeneuve. Schumacher lines up next to him, an important one for him. Frentzen third, Berger, great work 4th, Irvine 5th, Coulthard 6th. And now we wait.
To get to grips with its narrow, twisty 2.6 miles. This was
Panis in
highlighted last year
10th.
when there were several accidents.
Oh no. We're behind Nakano, Morbidelli, Hill. Oh my god, it's worse. Did I really perform a lot better then? I can't remember what my time was. Well, I'd only noted like my position, which was 14th when we last did this. I think the consistency thing of scoring points every round is going to take a knock today. I've changed my setup as well before it came to this. I thought, you know what, actually I want it to be a bit more drivable in the race. I've upped my downforce, up my wings. Okay, so in the real race, Schumacher collided with future teammate Barrichello and retired. Coulthard collided with Ralf Schumacher and retired. Frentzen retired with a clutch issue early on. This was also the race where Panis was chasing down Villeneuve and could have maybe had a brilliant result for the team, maybe even a win, until there was an electrical failure and he retired. In the end, Villeneuve had to fend off a charging Eddie Irvine, who'd started 7th but finished less than a second behind the Canadian. Just as impressively, Hakkinen and Berger came from 17th and 12th respectively to finish 5th and 6th. Alesi just missing out on points, finishing 7th. Last year we basically gained 4 places in the race, finished 10th. We just had poor pace throughout. I'm going to say top 10, I think, because if I somehow manage to gain 9 places from there, I'll be very happy. I know it won't be points, but I just need to try and... That might actually be my worst ever qualifying result in one of these playthroughs so far. Maybe we do want some rain. It is a completely dry weekend in Argentina. Oh dear, what's going to happen? Oh, hang on, sorry. Excuse me. My analog had switched off, that's not ideal. Sorry. Slightly takes away from the... 3 lights are on, 4 lights are on, 5 lights are on, and we're underway in Argentina. Again, we drop into outside of the top 12, into 20th. Up the inside, let's try and gain a few from the concertina, and we do. My lord. Pretty much leaning on the Stewart there. Oh my god, how do they carry so much speed through? This was the sort of thing I was hoping the Benetton would save us from. But we've got the straight line speed, so we're going to have to look into the braking zone. Oh, rightly so. I think I've been rightly flagged there because I have just absolutely abused that Stewart for about half a lap.
He's hit Ruben Barrichello.
Sorry, Rubens, do apologise. So not a bad first lap. We're up to where we started last year. Can we catch anyone though, is the big question. Morbidelli next. Oh! Oh my word! Sorry, I just... Some very questionable driving standards from me. Barrichello has followed me through, but my lord, that was bad from me. I'm not even going to pretend it wasn't as I go deep into that one. Panis now is next. Panis has just overtaken someone up ahead. I can't even hear my own engine now. All I can really hear is the people queuing up behind me. Mika Häkkinen's next up the road.
Rubens Barrichello.
I just can't seem to find the line through. I just don't get it.
The gap is growing.
I'll get a little bit of a breather now down this straight. Feels like every corner I'm losing. Sauber on my tail now. Oh, I've gone deep into one.
The race leader, Williams, number 1. The gap is growing.
Johnny Herbert just driving away from us at the minute. Got a Jordan behind us. I wonder who that is. Both the Jordans were ahead of us, but obviously someone got caught up in that mess. I have no idea what that mess was. And to be honest, I don't know why I didn't react to it better. I don't know why. Why didn't I brake earlier? If I'd done it a little bit tidier, I probably would have gained more places out of that, and I'd be in the top 10. Well, I would have been at that point. Whether I would have stayed there is another thing. Because as you can see, I am just struggling through every corner. I feel like last year, some corners I had a respite on. This time, I can't seem to get away at any corner. Ah. And now I'm making silly mistakes and giving away needless places. Like last year, I felt like I had more respite on certain parts of the track, whereas this year, literally it's just the straights. Now admittedly I didn't take that one well. I've not driven well. But even when I feel like I'm taking the corners well, I'm just... What is happening? Oh my word. And that's probably Damon Hill. I managed to get back past Damon. And we have Gianni Morbidelli up ahead. We have an Alesi train, people.
He's losing ground.
At least Berger's still in the points. There's something, but oh my. I'm very much the one letting the side down today. Maybe I've got the setup wrong. Or it's just the fact that for the first time this season, the manual gears have actually been more of a hindrance, and I've changed the way I'm driving the course to the manual gears. And it's making me slower this time, maybe. Because so far, first 2 rounds, it's absolutely made me quicker.
He's losing ground.
Oh, God. I also feel like I'm making a lot more mistakes, though. Oh, good lord.
Look at that. Let's see how his times compare. He's dropping back a bit.
That was rough. That was really rough. Oh dear.
Jean Alesi.
That was wank. So, it's taken 3 rounds, but Jacques Villeneuve is finally a race winner in 1997 from Michael Schumacher, who was charging at the end clearly, fastest lap, and a time that was only a second down on the actual pole time. Irvine third, well done to Gerhard Berger in fourth, Giancarlo Fisichella in fifth, and Coulthard in sixth. So Jordan and McLaren both scoring points today. We finish 54 seconds behind. Our fastest lap was exactly 4 seconds slower than Michael Schumacher's. And while I can blame the track, I feel like I also didn't drive very well throughout that entire weekend actually. This is the point where if I was younger I would just quit and not save it. And the temptation is real, but I'm not going to do it. So this is how the championship changes now. Jacques Villeneuve takes the lead for the very first time. It is a Williams 1-2. He's 7 points clear of Heinz-Harald Frentzen, who I've just realised also didn't score points today. Wow, he dropped out big time. Schumacher is now joint third with us. We're just 8 points behind, so it's not completely the end of the world detrimental, but we can't keep having results like that for sure. Irvine is up to 5th and Berger in 6th. So at least we have 2 Benetton cars in the top 6. In fact, the top 6 is literally just the top 3 constructors at this moment in time. Williams, Ferrari, Benetton. Speaking of which, Williams now 13 points clear at the top. They are starting to get a little bit commanding. Ferrari move into second. They can no longer be the Hans team because they have now overtaken us by a single point. That happened. Fortunately, next time we go to a track that I know we can perform at well. We got our first, I think it was our first podium with Panis last time, if I remember rightly. Hopefully next time we can get back in the points and back with a strong result to keep ourselves in the championship fight. We head to Imola for the San Marino Grand Prix. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate your support on this series. I'm glad that it's nice and back and up and running again, but I can only apologise for that performance because I've got to admit I didn't drive well there. Like, I was missing so many gears as well. I think it's because I was just struggling for pace. I was starting to panic. I was just like, ugh. Hopefully we can turn it around though at Imola. Let's deliver. See you next time.